If you have never seen an angel, you haven't met my mother. Velma Beach Merrill. She was indeed an angel, and I believe that she is watching over each and every one of us today. Velma Beach was born December 7th, 1913, in Texola, Oklahoma, on a ranch owned by Hugh Title that her father had leased. It was about 12 miles from Texola. It consisted of several sections on the border of Texas and Oklahoma. The Beach's house was just over the line in Texas. Her father's name is William Elbridge Beach. Her mother's name is Lula Snow McDonald. Lula was named after an LDS missionary who taught the McDonalds in Wayne County, Tennessee, when she was a girl. Velma was named after the neighbor Mrs. Francis, who took care of her mama when she was born, and Mr. Title's daughter, Velma. Mother had 3 brothers, Alva, Oba, and Floyd, and one sister, Lucille. She loved them and stayed close to them all their lives. Mother grew up on farms that her father and brothers worked. She, being the youngest, was impressed with farm life. She loved the outdoors, the horses, the landscape, and the experiences she had. She tells in her life history about the first dolls she had. Her mother had ordered a doll head and made a body for it. She tells how she learned a valuable lesson about taking care of things when she left it outside one night and it rained. Her precious doll had pock marks on it after that. She tells of the experience when a mad dog bit their favorite workhorse on the nose. Her father took it down by the creek and tied it to a tree. When it started throwing fits, he had to kill it and bury it in a big hole. She told how they all cried because it was like losing one of the family. Listen to this excerpt from her history. One day in the summer, Papa and the boys were down repairing the tank. Mother and I had walked down to take them their lunch and spend the afternoon in the shade of the trees. About 3 in the afternoon, a black cloud appeared over the horizon in the north, with small whirly clouds ahead of it. One large one almost touched the ground. Papa unhooked the horses from the scraper and hooked them to the wagon, all working as fast as they could. He whipped the horses, and they ran all the way to the house, which to me was strange because Papa would never allow anyone to run his teams. Everyone jumped out of the wagons. Mother hustled us into the storm cellar, while Papa and the boys unhitched the horses from the wagon, not taking time to unharness them. They ran for the cellar. Just as the cellar door was closed, the wind hit. We could hear all kinds of noise, but no one dared peek out. After it finally stopped blowing, we all went into the house, and it started to rain. In just a few minutes, the water was running a foot deep through our yard. I think Papa was equipped with radar, because even in the night he would know when a storm was coming and get us all into the cellar. Those are some of the childhood memories my mother had. Lula, my Grandma Beach, was sick all the time, and the doctor told them that she might do better if they would move to a drier climate. Grandpa Beach took a train to Arizona. When he got off the train in Duncan, he fainted. The doctor there told him it was too high for him, so he got on a train going back and went home. He thought about it and talked it over with his family and decided they were going to move anyways. This is how Mother described their move. Papa bought a Model T Ford. Alva had been to Nebraska working. Papa called him. In a few days he came driving in with a stripped-down Model T painted red. We called it the Hootenanny. So with the 2 cars and all our worldly possessions and Alva and Obi's saddles strapped on the hood of each car, we started for Arizona. The Beaches settled in the Gila Valley, where they leased a farm from the Hoops. It was here that Mother attended her very first Latter-day Saint Sunday school. She had never seen the sacrament pass before. She was really thrilled to think that she got to partake of the Lord's Supper. In the Baptist church they only had the sacrament on Easter, and she had never attended on Easter. Grandma Beach was excited when she found out there were Mormons in the Gila Valley. The missionaries had visited her family when they were in Tennessee. In fact, she was named after a missionary named Snow, and so was her cousin. Her uncle and family joined the church and moved to Joseph City, Utah. When Grandma Beach was a small girl in Tennessee, the missionaries were working in their community. The mob became so bad, Grandma Beach's father hid them in his plum thicket by the creek in their wash house until the mob quieted down, and then he slipped them out of the county. When Grandma Beach found out that Mrs. Hoops was a Mormon, it was the first time since she was a child she had any contact with the church. She talked about taking food to the missionaries where they were hiding. Grandma Beach, Lula, died June 29th, 1924. Mother was just 10 years old. Uncle Toby and Aunt Reby were married the following September. So with her papa, Uncle Tobe and Aunt Reby, and Grandma Dixon, Aunt Reby's mother, Mama grew to her teenage years in Bryce and Pima. There she met Dad, Jesse Glenn Rusty Merrill, and they were married April 20th, 1929.
I know you've read the stories of the prophets and their days, and they often leave a tribute to the ones who taught the way.
Heavenly Father sent 8 children to Rusty and Velma. Their posterity has been raised up and truly called the Blessed.
And I'm sure that most of us could say that the same applies to me. Could I learn through my own light to gain humility? Could I seek to know the meaning of the truths you gave to me? Could I understand all by myself the truths that set us free? Or did I learn them at my mother's knee? Could I learn without your guiding hand to choose the better part? Could I recognize the feelings when the Spirit touched my heart? Could I ever know the blessings of a good and honest choice, if not for listening to my Father's voice?
On Mother's Day in 1985, just 3 years before Mama died, Bert videotaped Mama and Daddy telling stories about their life.
When's the last time you rode a horse, Grandma?
I guess when we were up on the Grahams and rode old Stink up the hill. Last time I remember.
When's the first time you rode a horse?
Oh gosh, I used to, when I was a little old
You used to be on
pipsqueak, was about 4 or 5 years old. We had a horse we called Old Dutch, great big broad mare, and my dad plowing and things, I'd ride on the back of that thing, a horse. She was just like sitting on an easy chair.
Just for fun?
Uh-huh.
I know Uncle Tobe said several times that you was always on a horse.
After Mama died, Papa bought me an old cow pony, old a Pimple we called him. And they run those ranches across in Bryce there, the Hoops ranches. And my dad told me I was the water boss. I had to keep fresh water to them. They'd be working maybe on one side and some of the rest would be working on the other end of the ranch. And so I had this, he got me this horse and I'd carry water to him all day long. And then I thought, I thought since, well, that's the way he had to keep in track of me.
Yeah.
Because I was just 10 years old when my mother died.
How far would you ride?
Oh, it's a good mile clear across about where the ground run from about where the highway, well, not quite up to where the highway was, clear across where you start down to Eden. It's two great big sections in there, I'm sure.
When I moved her up to the mountain, when she rode the horse.
Where?
When I moved her up to the mountain when I was working in the sawmill. She rode that horse from the sawmill up to the logging camp and I drug them both.
You drug her and the horse?
We walked up that 8 miles.
Didn't have sense to turn her loose and let her ride it. I wanted to lead her, but I didn't want her to get away from me.
You don't have to tighten the black knob on the side.
It was just so dark you couldn't even see your hand in front of you.
How what?
It was so dark you couldn't see your hand in front of you. And we got up to the sawmill, we walked up to the sawmill, and we got up there. Rex Starton, that was the fellow that worked up to the logging camp. He was there with his horse, and so I rode the horse on up, and he and Dad walked. And I think Rex took a hold of the horse's tail, and I rode it, and Rusty left.
All three of you. You and the horse and Rex.
Rex who?
Starton.
Rex Starton.
That's his name. He's a fellow that worked at the logging camp.
Oh. And what did you do when you got up there?
We crashed.
Besides honeymoon.
We had a little cot, one of those folding cots that we both slept on the first night. We were up there. We got a bed the next day, I think, but that's all we had to sleep on is that little old canvas cot. But we slept, boy, I tell you, we was tired enough, we really slept.
That's when I went down the mountain to get her that time.
Wasn't any honeymoon taking place, I tell you.
Did you ever help any Chinamen push a truck out, Grandpa?
Wait a minute. What about the mountain? You tell us the one about the dog that brought the bacon to the door.
Oh, when you was a baby, you had dysentery real bad. And Grandpa took us up to the mountain. Grandma always said when anything like that, they called it summer complaint, take them to the mountain. So he took me and Pete, let's see, Maria went with us, and pitched a tent up to Turkey Flat and left us there. And he was baling hay, so he went on back home. And I don't know, we were up there a couple of weeks, I guess, but we run out of groceries. We didn't have, just 2 or 3 dried up potatoes, and Pete said, well, if he didn't come that night after us, he'd walk down the next day and get help because we didn't have nothing to eat. And he come that night to get us, and we had an old Airedale dog up there with us. And the next morning we got up, and here this dog was laying at the side of the tent, and he had a square of bacon about this big a square, and the only place it had any marks on it was where he'd carried it, right, teeth marks right in the corner. And there he lay with that between his legs. He never ate off of it or anything. He brought that up there for us to eat.
He stole it.
He stole it from somebody's camp, but we ate it for breakfast.
Did you ever get real hungry in your life, Grandpa?
Alive.
Huh?
Hungry all my life.
What's the brokest you ever been in your life?
I don't know.
When we was out in California, that's when it was.
Huh?
When we lived out in California is when you was the brokest. Didn't have anything to eat.
That's when we was out there, that's when we usually got up against it.
Didn't have any family either.
Talk about people being hard up. We know what it is to be hard up.
I don't. Tell me about it.
I'll tell you about it. I've told it so many times now, everybody knows it.
I don't.
Well, we just simply run out. We had a little money coming from a guy that we'd been cutting wood from, but we couldn't get it yet because we hadn't quite finished the job. We got out of groceries. We didn't have nothing. Nothing.
You had me.
Not even. Well, you couldn't.
We had 25 cents. Enough to buy a loaf of bread and a gallon of
Well, I went
milk.
down there to that store where we'd been trading. It was a Filipino that owned it. And I asked the manager if he'd lend me $1 worth of groceries for just 3 or 4 days. No! One of the clerks heard him, and he was a Filipino too. He walked over and he says, here's $1 bill. You can pay me back when you get paid. And so we took that and bought a gallon of milk, loaf or 2 of bread, and quite a bit of other groceries. You couldn't even get the gallon of milk out for it. Then you found $1 bill in my pocket the next day when he was washing.
You reached in your pocket to get the change out of your pocket, and there was $1 bill in your watch
Couldn't
pocket.
find that, but we was hard up. And then Lauren got pneumonia and went to the hospital and about died on us. And we come home there one day, and after we got him out of the hospital, and our kitchen had a plastered ceiling. Of course, them days they used wood lath most of the time. And it had been raining. In fact, it rained 60 inches in the 3 months that we was out there in Santa Maria. And we sitting there just eating breakfast. What dishes we had was on the table. We didn't have many. But that whole ceiling come down. We just got Lauren out of the hospital. He's sitting there. One piece of that thing hit him, but it hit me and busted every plate and thing we had on the table.
Well, what were you doing in California?
Trying to make a living, get rich like what other people.
What year was it?
35.
Oh,
34.
no, it's 30, yeah, 35.
35. We was about 5 years old.
Lauren was
'Cause we went back
34,
to-
and it was the next.
We
summer.
went back over to Linden in March of 36. It was colder than the devil. It was 4 degrees below zero when we went through Flagstaff that morning. That's another.
What kind of car did you drive?
Over Nash 220.
Best car there's ever
Until
made.
it was, finally went into the American Motors car. 6-cylinder. Bert and Eugene and Lauren laying up in the back, and Arnold and Velma and I was sitting up front. We were going between Williams and Flagstaff up along that old railroad. The highway went along beside it quite a way. And that old car just started slowing down, and it was in the middle of the night. It just stopped. The engine had run, but it couldn't pull it. It just couldn't pull it. I didn't know what to do. Got out, and I figured there was something wrong in the transmission. I got a little can that we had in there, and I drained some gasoline out into it, and then poked a rag in it. And it was cold. I mean, it was just cold. It almost stick to the ground. It was so cold. I lit that and set it in under the transmission. It just regular 3-speed transmissions, all it was. And I had an old wrench and I got it warm enough. I loosened the plug. I pulled the plug out and nothing would come out. And it got warm enough. That oil run out of it. It got warm enough. But that was what was the matter. The oil just froze up in that transmission. The oil just got so thick it wouldn't go. I drained that out and put a can of, I had some motor oil with me, put a can of motor oil in it, got in it. We went clear on to Linden with it. Going through Flagstaff about 6 o'clock in the morning, it was 4 below zero.
So on the ground. There, when we went through then was just a college, just about all there was to Flagstaff. Just a college and a few buildings around. Just wasn't much town there.
That's when, well, you know, it was a long time after that before they put that freeway in. All the traffic went right under that railroad.
Yeah.
Through all them highways.
Tell me when you got sick.
Oh, when I got sick.
What did you see when you got sick?
What did I see?
Yeah.
I was unconscious for a long time. I went down to Pima and Larry was born, and I took cold while I was down there, and then the time I got back up to Linden, I took pneumonia, and I just went under. I don't know how long I was sick.
Well,
But anyway,
about a week before we got you coming out of it.
Anyway, I was really,
I remember.
you remember it.
Yeah, I remember.
But anyway,
We had that big fireplace in the middle of that building, the kitchen on this side, and that, and just the door beside the fireplace. But it was in the middle, and the kids had cut some wood. Arnold and Pete and Ralph had cut some wood, a lot of it. We'd build a fire in that fireplace, just a booming fire. And just set a can of water over next to the wall, 15 foot from it, and freeze solid. That's when it was cold too.
Did you ever get her worried about her making it?
Oh, we thought she wouldn't make it. We called Floyd. Floyd came up, told, and that Minnie.
Tobe didn't come. Tobe had pneumonia.
Well,
He didn't come. Aunt Minnie come.
who got that Minnie up there?
I don't know, but she was there.
I don't know it. Floyd didn't come through on 60th or higher. But
They were
anyway,
living in Albuquerque then.
her leg, one was legs. We'd run out of camp all, we used everything. And she was just laying there, we had her on the floor, close to that fire to get,
I wasn't on the floor. I was on
my
the
dad and my mother, and all I was trying to rub the circulation back down into her legs. And as she lay just like that, and I thought I heard her say something. And Dad and I had just administered to her, and she was just about the color of that book there. And her legs was cold, and then we was just scared to death, and so Lorena, Andy's wife, Uncle Andy's wife, she was there, and she was standing there, and we didn't have any. We just mixed up a little camphorated oil and spirits of ammonia, into some olive oil to make some camphorated oil. I says, and I thought I heard her say oil, and that first thing got to, I told Maria, I says, hand me down that camphorated oil, and she was so excited, she reached up there and she got the straight aromatics of ammonia, and poured that in a tablespoonful, and I poured that down her throat, and that's all saved her life. It was just it's so strong, just straight aromatics.
Sucked the air down into my lungs.
Straight aromatics of ammonia stuff. And it just made it just pulled that plug out of her, and she just coughed out a water about that big, just black as it could be, and she started getting better, that just right there.
Tell us about your dream.
11, 15, 20 minutes till her feet was warm.
Yeah. Well, I guess the same time, I just kind of give up. It seemed like I was in a big cavern, just kind of like the Carlsbad cavern. And I was wandering, I couldn't go, it seemed like there was a light shining at the head of it, and I couldn't make it to that light, and I couldn't come back. I was just in limbo. And I thought I seen a nice green spot there, and I just went in and laid down on that green spot. And then the family gathered around me, and they were all around my bed, and a voice told me, let's see, how was it? You've got to work for what you get. Nothing's going to give to you on a silver platter. And boy, I started sucking in my breath, and I guess that's when they give me that. And I started breathing deep, and I had pleurisy, and it hurt real bad to breathe. And I suck in my breath, and I started working, and I just started getting better. Pretty soon I was conscious and a lot better.
That's what brought you conscious.
but that, I was just that near gone.
Not spirits of pneumonia.
But,
Was this time you thought you heard your mother?
oh, I've seen her a couple of times, but that was before that. It seemed like I went into the room where she is at, and she was in an upstairs room with a braided rug on the floor, and there wasn't much, and I can't remember any furniture, only she was sitting in a rocking chair sewing. And I'd go into the room and she'd say something to me, and then I'd come back. 2 different times. I don't know what she said to me. I'd like to know what she said to me, but I don't remember what she said to me. But and she hardly looked up at me. She just said something, and I went back. But there was 2 different times that occurred.
Well, were you dreaming or were you sick
What do you mean?
when you seen your mother?
Oh, that's when I had pneummonia.
Same time. I thought it was.
Yeah, same time. Same time at different times, I guess. But I guess that's about the nearest I ever come to kicking the bucket. There's only one thing that kept me fighting, and that was I didn't want anybody else to raise my kids.
I have a family here on earth. They are so good to me. I want to share my life with them through all eternity. Families can be together forever through Heavenly Father's plan. I always want to be with my own family, and the Lord has shown me how I can. The Lord has shown me how I can. While I am in my early years, I'll prepare most carefully so I can marry in God's temple for eternity. Families can be together forever through Heavenly Father's plan. I always want to be with my own family, and the Lord has shown me how I can. The Lord has shown me how I can. As I have loved you, love one another. This new commandment By this shall men know ye are my disciples, if ye have love one to another. If ye have love one to There is beauty all around when there's love at home. There is joy in every sound when there's love at home. Peace and plenty here abide, smiling sweet on every side. Time does softly, sweetly glide when there's love at home. Love at home. Love at home. Time does softly, sweetly glide when there's love at home. In the cottage there is joy when there's love at home. Hate and envy ne'er annoy when there's love at home. Roses bloom